Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, kings and queens of the land. Good afternoon, the royals. Good afternoon to the liberated zones of Africa, imported to mention. Good afternoon to Begin Faso under the leadership of President Captain Ibrahim Traore. Good afternoon to Niger under the leadership of President Abdurrahman Tian. Good afternoon to Mali under the leadership of President Asim Goita. Good afternoon to the liberated zone in South Africa, to the KZN. Good afternoon to the KZN in South Africa, led by the MK Party under the leadership of President Jacob Geleshegisa Zoma. Good afternoon to sons and daughters of the land. Good afternoon to the royals. My name is Mngoni Mkonto. This is the Royal Opinion. This is where we analyze politics for the sake of benefiting the black child. We don't just analyze politics for no end. We analyze politics for the purpose of benefiting the African child. That's why the politics that we analyze here, there are no gossips, because gossips normally would not benefit the African children. So when we analyze whatever we analyze here, it's politics and any other uh, happening in the planet which will actually change the life of black people, or the life of humanity as a whole. Today, our topic is what would be the actual impact of. We are looking at the impact of the Chikumbutso energy revolution, the scythe energy revolution, the scythe energy revolution. What would be the impact on the ground of this revolution and evolution at the same time? This is revolution and evolution at the same time. So we are looking at that impact. John says, I last joined the class. I last At least I joined the class early today. You are the first one joined. You are the first student in the class. Thank you for joining. We are waiting for more students to join. But today we're talking about the impact of the energy revolution that is happening. This is massive for planet Earth. That is why we're talking about it here at the Royal Opinion. At the Royal Opinion, we talk about issues that are massive for black people, massive for planet Earth, massive happenings for humanity. Before we go into details about the topic that we are addressing today, I want us to have a little. I just want to remind people, earlier or late last year, around December, I made a video that the MK party will be facing. I made predictions that the MK party will be facing massive issues on its ranks. the MK party will be invaded, and the MK party will face massive challenges among its ranks. I mentioned that the CIA actually, uh, international intelligence organizations, have previously invaded organizations which were fighting against the colonial control. The colonial master has already established an infrastructure among ourselves that takes care of him to protect his interest. So the infrastructure that the colonial master has established is very strongly embedded within us. In the MK party, the MK party will not be spared if the MK party is to liberate black people. White people will not let the MK party to liberate people easy like that. So the MK party will be invaded by these intelligence organizations. What is outstanding, or what would be the powerful thing? What would be everybody looking for? It's how the leadership act at the end of the day. There has been squabbles recently. I normally don't talk about it because it has got no material impact in the life of black people and in the life of the planet or in the life of humanity. It has got no impact when there was a little bit of infighting between Floyd Shivambo and Tuduzile Zuma. Some were saying Zuma has to choose between a daughter and Floyd Shivambu. President Zuma is not a confused man. He knows very well that he does not have to choose. Those who think President Zuma has to choose are those who are crazy and confused, who don't understand how life works. You can't choose between your daughter and any other thing because nature has dictated that you and your children will be together. It's not a matter of choice. It's a matter of what nature have dictated it should happen. So it has happened like that. So I wanted to make a remark that whenever squabbles or whatever is happening in the MK party, people should just trust the leadership of the MK party. People should just trust President Jacob Zuma, should trust Floyd Shivambo to lead the organization in the right direction, and just wait to see how the organization, uh, which direction is the organization will be taken to. President Zuma, I trust that the moment he declared that he wanted to stand for black people, he meant it. So because he meant it, he's never gonna allow anything to stop him from reaching his goal to liberate black people and black children. This is a bigger goal than just looking at his family. Liberating Africa, the rest of black people who are under slavery and under colonialism, it's a much bigger role which needs a sober mind, which need people like President Zuma to actually act as an adult and show direction to the lost, show direction to the weak children, and show direction to the confused masses of black people who've been confused by all the propaganda materials that are meted in all these radio stations, televisions, printed media houses. social media, the propaganda which is going on the social media, creating confusion among black children. President Zuma is going to give direction uh, and show the black child how to lead an organization, a complex organization like the MK Party, which is meant to, which its project is too massive for an ordinary person to actually even grab. How big is the project of the MK Party? Um, uh, just like the issue that we are talking about today, the issue of Maxwell Chikumbutso. With that remark about President Zuma and the MK Party, I wanted to say, let whatever is happening in the MK Party happens. Let the leadership of the MK Party takes leadership and show to everybody in the country that the MK Party is the real deal. In any way, even if the MK Party fails, what will not go away is the fact that black people are still colonized. What will not go away is the fact that black people are still under poverty. What will not go away is that black people don't have access to water. Black children don't have access to education. Black children does not have access to health care. Black children does not have access to quality education. That will not go away even if MK party is destroyed. It will not go away the fact that 60% of young people in South Africa are unemployed. It will not go away that we've got qualified doctors, medical doctors, who are sitting at home without work today. That will not go away by destroying the MK party. So by destroying the vehicle does not solve the issues which are in the ground. The people who are on the ground will find another vehicle to go to their destiny. If this vehicle has been destroyed, the people will find another vehicle. I trust in black people. If President Zuma is killed, or if eliminated, or if the MK party is somehow defeated in one way or another, uh, this will not uh, help those who are fighting for the right to oppress black people. It will not help them. So let's talk about the energy revolution. What does the energy revolution means? Chikumbutso have come up with a revolution or evolution. Revolution means uh, changing to become something which has not cannot be even recognized. Evolution means the changing of one state to the other. When people change from being monkeys to human, it was an evolution. When man discovered fire, it was a revolution. I think this is both an evolution and revolution. This will also alter the state of our thinking. Will alter also the state of the planet, the thinking of the planet. Can you imagine how many people um, are underdeveloped because they don't have electricity? The first energy revolution made corporations massive amounts of money. It made corporations richer than nobody can imagine. The profits, the global profits of oil that Petroleum has made in 2020, in 2024 amounts to 800 billion across the world. 800 billion across the world in oil or in petroleum selling. This is massive. The oil revolution have created wars. People are still getting mad at in different parts of the world even today because of oil discoveries in their countries. The Niger Delta, even today, the people of the Niger Delta are in crisis because of the discovery of oil in their shores. This was meant to revolutionize their lives and their economies, but it became a curse because of the large corporations that decided to make profits out of the suffering of the people. They decided to prioritize profits instead of prioritizing life. One thing that Africans were shocked by the arrival of white people, it's how white people were prioritizing resources over people. For many African leaders, it was shocking, it was unimaginable, because in Africa, human life or life was actually honored. Even animals were actually honored, not abused. But the arrival of the white people changed the attitude of the black Africans about life. They changed that the petrol has brought in the transportation industry, or the oil, the diesel has brought in the transportation industry. People were able to move from America now to different parts of the world faster than they've ever done before because of the revolution that happened when oil took over the industries. This required people to ban machines, to ban uh, chemicals into the sky. While the industries were growing, the ozone layer was also getting damaged. There was concerns of climate change, about the way in which human beings are behaving in planet Earth. Scientists have said that if people don't change their behavior on planet Earth, the planet will not be inhabitable in the next 100 to 200 years. A revolution or an evolution was needed. Not so late, Kencon. You are not so late in the class. Thank you very much for joining, Kencon. You are not so late. So it happened that the world has been changed through oil, that the life of people, the massive development has happened across the world, among people, among businesses, because of oil, which was a revolution, an energy revolution. Now we're talking of another energy revolution caused by Maxwell Chikumbutso, who came up with a technology which is able to harvest radio frequencies and convert them into useful electrical energy that you can actually carry around anywhere you want to go. The problem with electricity was you couldn't carry it around in a bag anywhere you want to go. Now Chikumbuzo has come up with a revolution. This means disruptions in many industries. The oil industry, which I said they've made $800 billion in the past year, will have to shut down. Shutting the oil industry down will also shut down all the byproducts that they are taking from that they have coming from extraction of oil. The people who are creating the engines, the petrol engines, the diesel engines that are created to run vehicles and to run generators, all of those industry will have to shut down. The solar industry, which is maybe a better alternative before Maxwell Chikumbutso, will also have to shut down, because now you won't have to charge, you won't have to need the solar panel. You can actually have something to put in your house. You can have something to put in your house without connecting it on top of the roof or anywhere, harvesting energy and doing whatever you want to do in your house. This is a revolution. This is a change. Now, this takes power from the state, because that's another angle. The first angle is a lot of people or a lot of businesses are going to close. We're going to have a lot of businesses which will have to close. The petrol industry will have to close. The solar industry will have to shut down. The engine industry will have to shut down. The electric car industry, which Elon Musk is part of, will have to rethink the way they are creating. Tembega Gabai says, powerful analysis, always my brother. I'm so grateful to be in your space. Thank you very much. I'm also very grateful that you are in my space. This space is created specially for people like you, because there's basically no space for people like you to actually to have what we want to get from the people who are responsible for giving news or for broadcasting in this way. Thank you very much for being part of our space, being part of my space as well. The oil industry and its subsidiaries. I mean its subsidiaries, I mean any other people who are making money because of the oil industry. There are other uh, uh, companies which are not necessarily selling oil, but they're actually making oil because they're making money because of the oil industry. All of those industries will have to shut down. Do we imagine the uh, can we imagine the distraction or the disturbances which all of these industries are going through at the moment when Maxwell Chikumbutso come up with this energy revolution? It's what the planet has been looking for. The freedom that will come to individuals, the savings. Can you imagine running a car for more than 20 years without worrying about maintenance? Can you imagine running an engine? Because this is not moving any parts, it's just generating energy. The reason you need to maintain the generator and change the oil, it's because parts are moving there. Some are wearing down, some are. So if there's no moving parts, if you buy it, you buy it. There's no maintenance that you need to do on the machine. You only have to receive the energy. This will bring freedom to individuals. When this technology is bought by individual people, it will bring freedoms to individual people. The state has got a right to collect taxes from people because it gives people services, particular services. One of the key services that the state is giving to its citizens is energy, electricity. If individuals are made to be energy independent and somehow water independent, then the state will not have a right to collect from people, and the state will not have power over people. The politicians, the power of the politicians will end. This kind of discovery may even end the wars that are happening across the world at the moment, because most of the wars that are happening are caused by oil. The war happening in DRC is caused by lithium for batteries. The demand for lithium for batteries. That is another industry which is going to collapse because the lithium, the battery industry was making quite a lot of money for on electric cars, but it was making the electric cars expensive to have because the weight of the battery, and it was making it a little bit impossible for the trucking industry, transportation industry to use electrical cars because you need a bigger battery. Now you've got unlimited energy that you can install in a truck and transport food for free to any part of the world, transport people across the world. That is a massive revolution. Let me share the video of the launch because this has happened and the launch has happened. The launch of this massive technology.
Coming to our launch, I just want to acknowledge everyone who is here. Thank you for being part of us today and for being part of this great history. Thank you so much. It's something that I don't take lightly. May God bless you all.
Thank you.
Disclaimer, I'm not educated. So if I use broken English, just bear with me. Okay. English does not invent anything. So if you can allow me to walk with you through the journey of my life, if you can give me time, your precious time, I think you, by the end of this presentation, you'll be in a position of understanding where we are coming from and where we are right now. I've seen that when we met His Excellency, a lot of people, they commented, and it's unfortunate that most of them, they commented on a point where they were not informed. So if you can allow me, I would want to take you through the whole journey. Who is Maxwell, where I come from, and where we are right now. My name is Chikumbutso. The name Maxwell was given because my name is a foreign name. It's not easy to pronounce. So I was born some 44 years ago at a farm, in a hut, the thick huts that we find in Africa. My mom, she had some complications during the time that she was giving birth to me. So I was supposed to be killed because, you know, that time, most of the people who were staying in the farms were foreigners, and they have the culture that if a child was to be born, for example, if the child could not cry, was supposed to be killed. So I didn't cry, and I was supposed to be killed, but my mom refused. They beat me, they did everything, I didn't cry, until later on. I cried. So I'm not an easy person to bring down. All my critics, you must know that I'm not easy to bring down. I'm not boasting, but I'm telling you, this is who I am. I'm a fighter, and I don't take defeat lightly. My journey started, I think, the scientific journey started when I was around 15 years old. That's when I converted to be a Christian. I was not born a Christian, but I converted to be a Christian. So that time, I was very young, and that was the time that my education has ended. Due to some financial difficulties, I was raised by a single parent. So that resulted in me dropping off from school, and I was Form 2. I was known in the community of being a sort of like a creative kind of a person, and I was very good in making wire cars. And up to now I can make. I'm very good in that. Yeah. So my mom used to beat me because I was like a naughty boy. You couldn't even find me home. I would go to the dump sites, try to find some components, some parts that I would come and experiment and test with. But I was still blank. That was at 15 years. It all happened in 1997. Yeah, 1997. I was 17 years old, and I still remember vividly. It was on the 23rd of September. I was praying in the church at a corner. God visited me, and I heard a voice which says, "Thus said the Lord, I'm going to use you." I was given a scripture which is in the book of Isaiah 49 verse 7, which says, "Thus said the Lord, the Redeemer of Israel, is Holy One. To him whom men despiseth, to him whom the nation abhorreth, to a servant of rulers, kings shall see and arise. Princes also shall worship because of the Lord. That is faithful, and the Holy One of Israel, and he shall choose thee." From that day, there was a man of God. Unfortunately, he's not here yet. He was preaching, and I was at the back of the church. He called me out and he said, "God told you something. See me before you go." Not these modern prophets. I've seen real prophets, real men of God. That man, he took me. He's the man who mentored me. He taught me how to pray, how to talk to God. And I began to grow in both wisdom and intelligence. Just a few years later, in 1999, I did my first working prototype. It was a radio broadcasting transmitter. It was highly publicized on national television. It made waves. I was broadcasting illegally in the community that I stayed. I had my DJs. We had our slots. Some were DJs for reggae, some for Christian music. We were like that, and we were very happy. Then when the news broke out, the minister, who was the Minister of Information and Communication that time, he said, "No, we have to be stopped." And we were stopped. That was it. I never got funding. I never got anything. But I still remember very well that time I could see visions. Not when I was asleep, even when I was walking. I would see circuit boards. There is no one on earth who can come and say, "I taught Maxwell electronics or any other subject in engineering. God taught me." And that's a fact. So I was very interested in technology that time after the broadcasting authority, the broadcasting transmitter. And I was very prayerful. We had our group which we called the Interdenomination Rescue Team, where different churches the youth would gather at one place, would pray. So one day there was a lady, she was invited. Her name is Rose Mazula. She was then the Broadcasting Authority Director, the Director of Broadcasting Authority. So when I gave a testimony, she said, "No, I think I need to see you." She invited me. I went to see her. In the end, she gave me a job. I started working for her. She is the person who gave me the first introduction to a computer, Rose Mazula. So I was supporting my family, my siblings, since I was now earning. And I still remember very, very, very well that one day I saw a vision when I was at a community. Then people were dying. And someone was telling me that, "You see, people are dying because there is no medication in this area. These diseases which are killing these people are treatable, but the medication needs to be in a refrigerator. There is no energy." That is the day God gave me the vision of harnessing natural radio waves, convert them into pure energy. And I'm proud to say that today we are the first people who have done that in the world. Like us or hate us, that's a fact. We have seen it, we have tested it. It was tested outside the country, it works. So what we have is called a microsonic energy device. But before I got to the microsonic energy device, like where we are right now, around 2013, that's 2003, that's when God gave me the vision. I started to work on it. And that time I was working on 3 projects. I began to be very much interested in radio frequencies. And I'm so good in radio frequencies. That's something that I know back to back. You cannot confuse me when you talk about radio frequencies. I've sat down with the best professors, best engineers in the world, the likes of Nassim Haramein, if you know him. I've sat down with him in the United States of America. I've sat with the likes of Michael, the great writers of science. They don't believe that I'm not educated. I'm good when you talk about radio frequencies. I'm so good in them.
Shocking. Maxwell Chikumbutso, it's true, is not educated. But this shows for us, we should be able to realize that actually the Western education, it's actually a hindrance to development. It's a hindrance to innovation or to creation. Most of the people who are innovative are basically outside the Western education. They are not Western educated. President Zuma is not educated by the Western people. Maxwell Chikumbutso is not educated by the Western people. The colonial education does not assist in innovation. It takes a lot.
Most of my projects, I'm not boasting, but I'm telling you, you cannot confuse me when you talk about radio frequencies. And I'm good on them. I've started to write my new discoveries, which I believe they are going to be written in science books. They are going to change the way that we think about radio frequencies, the way that we think about energy, the laws of energy and thermodynamics, and everything. They are going to change. And we can only prove that by testing and demonstrating the technology, and you see that it works. So that time I was working on a microsonic energy device. Before I even think of a name, the greener power of green machine. And I was working on my second biggest project, which was a digital navigation facilitator. That was the first big project that I did. A machine that is used it facilitates when an aircraft is landing. It calculates the position. It tells the engines the thrust to use. It calculates everything, even without the pilot. The aircraft can land autonomous. I did it in 2013. That project, I went with it to the Air Force of Zimbabwe. I went with it to the Zimbabwe Aviation Technical Training School. But unfortunately, because I'm not educated, I never got any support. That was the dead of it.
Get the magnitude of this. Chikumbutso has designed a navigation system which can land aircraft autonomously without a pilot. It means an aircraft now, with his microsonic energy device, an aircraft can actually go and travel to America without a pilot. That's basically what he's saying. It can land on its own without the pilot. It can drive on its own in the sky and land on its own without a pilot. According to what he says, this is his first discovery, and he took it to the Zimbabwean army, but they rejected it. Black people will always face that. Whenever black people are always skeptical about another black person, they don't want Not only, basically, you can't blame black people. It's white people who've done this, but we're not talking about that now. Let's listen to Chikumbotso.
Then from around 2003, that time, after the navigation facilitator, like I said, I was working on different projects at once. I abandoned the navigation facilitator and I began to work on, to put my resources and my efforts on the greener power of grid machine that we have today. It was not an easy journey. I went through a lot. No one can stand here today and say, I funded Maxwell. That's a lie. I funded myself through God. So I know that a lot of people, they gave me names. Some they call me a scammer. I don't remember asking anyone for a cent. I did it myself. I started driving some combis going to Mtare, using the resources on the projects. I later left in 2007, went to South Africa, started driving some trucks cross-border. I was very young. I was funding the projects alone. Then in 2009, I was robbed in South Africa, and I was homeless for 2 weeks. I was staying in a golf club, in a golf course. No food, no shelter, no clothes. One day I had to walk from Alberton, if people know where is Alberton, to Joburg City Center. Then I met a lady who I had gave a lift before when she was coming to South Africa. That was, I think, an act of God. And she saw I was dirty. She's the lady who called my mom and said, your son is here homeless and is destitute. My mom had to raise money for bus fare for me so that I can come from South Africa to Zimbabwe. I stroked one side, the right side, the left side to say, the day that I arrived in Harare at Roadport, my brother, he was coming to fetch me, he had an accident. I was left at the Roadport alone, lying in the lawn. My brother came later in the day. He took me because I didn't have 50 cents for me to go to Kwadza, our home. So when my mom saw me, she cried, she said, he's a dead person. It was a difficult time for the whole family. My late sister, she was still alive that time. They were praying for me, and one day I felt that I'm going to die. I called everyone and I said, please, today I'm dying, so I just want you to be with me. But before I die, please, can you take me to the church that I built when I was 15 years old? They took me, they find someone who gave them a car, they took me. I just lay my hands wherever I remember that I laid a brick. I put cement. That was my healing. The doctor who saw me when I was sick, he put me on ECG machine. The day that he saw me, well fit and alive, he said, I cannot believe this, it's only God. That is the day the greener power, the microsonic energy device, started working. From 2003 to 2009, the first working prototype, if you have got it, you can put it on the screen. That's when it started working. This was a broadcasting transmitter. This is the first greener power of grid machine. It was a 2000 watts. I took this machine all over the world in a backpack. The first country which heard about me was the government of Lesotho. They sent me air tickets. That was the first time I was in a plane. I went to Lesotho with my sister. She's now in England. We did a presentation. They gave me a citizenship and a 1 million deal. That was in 2009. I came back to tell my mom, a good Christian friend said, before you go to Lesotho, I want you to meet a man. I think that man, you can work with him. He introduced me to Zek Wazara, the former group CEO of Econet Wireless. He became my partner. We started a company we called Spirit Max. Spirit Edge Group, which was his company. Max Inventions, which is my company. Then we formed Spirit Max. That was the first company that I owned in Zimbabwe. I traveled that man, and we went all over the world. He was starting a telecoms company. Then he gave me a task and he said, Max, I want you to create a base station for me for Wi-Fi. That time Wi-Fi could not shake hands. BT Open Zone If you go on one base station, when you move, there will be a breakage of signal. With Zekwazara, I did the first working prototype and the first technology that check hands in data, even when you are moving, it won't break. The same way the cell phones operate. Unfortunately, what happened, I think a lot of people read about how Spirit Energy Group was liquidated. I then met a guy. I'm trying to cut it short so that at least I cannot bore you. I met a guy in South Africa. A good friend of mine took me to South Africa when I left Zekwazara. We went for Joburg City Power to make a presentation for new and renewable energy with our small machine, the 2000 watts, that you saw. When I was in South Africa, we got a deal, but a lot of people, they want to just eat what they did not kill. So the director who was on top, he said, for me to give you a deal, you must give me something. We didn't agree, then we left. That's how I met the late Dr. Ted D. Almeida. When I met Dr. Ted D. Almeida, we made a church. We just heard that he's a businessman. He has got interest in new and renewable energy, aviation, and a number of things. So we introduced ourselves. Dr. Ted D. Almeida invited us on Monday to come at his office. We went with that machine. We put it on the table, and we said, we have got this. He gave us a fan to test. We blow that fan. It was so embarrassing for us. Then he stood up and said, this machine is working. You blow the fan. How? We got a deal. But that deal never lasted because people, they started to disagree on what each and everyone was going to get. I came back to Zimbabwe. I started concentrating with my work. No one was funding me. God is so faithful. Dr. Teddy was at a certain church. Then he called me after some time. I had already forgotten about him. And he said, Max, do you remember Teddy? They said, which Teddy? Yeah, Teddy from South Africa. Okay, now I remember. I said, how soon can you go to South Africa? Then I said, Dr. Teddy, I think I can go to South Africa as soon as I got money for transport. He said, no, my personal assistant will arrange that for you. He had a private jet. He flew his jet to South Africa. I went to South Africa. That was my first time to be in a business class through that man. When I went there, he said, how much do you want? I saw a man of God and he told me that there is a Zimbabwean who came to your office. You must help him. I don't want anything as before in your company. I just want to help you. My first $500,000 to start Safe Technologies came as a seed from Dr. Teddy D. Almeida. So when we started the Safe in Zimbabwe, we were in Bluffview that time. I was working with Pastor and other guys. Zek was I had to call him back. Goma, things now well. Can you come back? Then he came back. This is the machine. I'll switch it on for you. You are going to see for the first time this machine recharging itself right now, harnessing energy. It tells you how much energy it is harnessing in watts form and how much it is putting in the machine. So I'm just waiting that they can give me something so that I can switch it on. The reason we put it in the glass, we wanted you to see that. I saw that a lot of people, they said there's solar panel, I'll get to that. You can see it's not connected to anything. It's okay. The microsonic energy is now on. It's analyzing. You see, it's charging itself. As you can see, the battery is now going up. You see? This device can last for 20 years. We are privileged that we are the first people to have this solution in the whole world. I'm so happy. I've got friends who came from Sweden, from Switzerland. I am so happy that I've got friends who came from the United States of America to just support us. So, ladies and gentlemen, I give you the microsonic energy device. Now the power is in your hands. You don't need a grid anymore. You don't need any external recharging system. As long as God is still alive and the radio waves are still there, being emitted from the galaxy, the sun, you still have your energy. This is free energy. So if you hear people say there is no free energy, there is free energy. We have violated the natural law of science. So I'm very happy when I see this machine. It was a very long journey, like I said, not easy to walk. Trying to protect it, we tried to file patents. It was not easy. Went as far as London. It was not easy. People would say, these guys are crazy. How can you say that you can violate the natural laws of physics? I'll tell you something that is very interesting. There was a war that happened between Nikola Tesla and his employer, Edison Thomas. Edison Thomas was busy making DC generators, and the whole of New York was crowded with wires. It was so tight. Nikola Tesla managed to invent a technology that can transmit energy with thin wires on a very long distance at a very, either you increase the frequency or you decrease the frequency. It depends where the energy is going. Edison Thomas had to take elephants and executed them, just trying to prove that it was dangerous. But Nikola Tesla stood, and today he's known as the father of electricity. When Henry Ford said everyone must own a car, there was war again between him and the horse breeders. The horse breeders say, no, right now we cannot get money from breeding the horses, whatever. They were war. So what we have, don't even be surprised why we are attacked left, right, and center. It is like that. This is something new. But we are trying to penetrate in a world that has got its own ways of thinking, its own ways of doing things. And a lot of people, they are trying to protect their interests. We have got the oil cabals who see this as a threat. Imagine if you are driving a car for 20 years and never refuel every day. Just imagine. When we went to Kaya,
Can you imagine how much you're going to save? Can you just imagine? Can you just imagine how much you're going to save in 20 years? When you've got free electricity and you don't put petrol in your car, when you run for free, can you imagine how much ordinary people and businesses are going to save? Can you imagine how much the big companies are going to lose because of this? This is the revolution that God has created. This is the revolution that God wanted to see about this generation. When we are no more energy dependent, when we are energy free, can you imagine the freedom that comes with it? Can you imagine the situation where people are free to go and build or to go and stay anywhere, even in deep forest? they will still have access to Wi-Fi, and they will still be able to have access to electricity, endless amount of electricity wherever they are. They don't have to move to the city. Do you imagine the agricultural revolution which will happen because of this free energy concept, the microsonic device? Can we imagine? Can we be able to imagine how people will be able to even stay in their cars? The change, the revolution that will happen, you won't necessarily need to have a fixed home. The wires was causing people to stay in one place because you have electricity access in this building. But now, if you can have electricity access and endless amount of electricity inside your vehicle, then you don't need the rigid or immovable asset. There will be buses which will become homes. People will go anywhere to stay across anywhere in Africa because they will have access to energy and have access to electricity. He says he's come up with a Wi-Fi which is so stable that it is the same as the network, the like the Vodacom or the cell phone network that we have. A very stable Wi-Fi which could be useful to humanity, which was rejected because they say he's not educated. Part of his struggle, Maxwell Chikumbutso was refused to patent his work because they say he's violating the law of thermodynamics. The law of thermodynamics, which says energy can neither be created nor destroyed, it can only be changed from one form to another. Basically, what it means is energy in should be the same energy that you get out. So, with this machine, the green power of the green machine, what you put in is not what you get out. What you get out is more than what you put in. So it's violating the law of thermodynamics according to them. And when you violate this law, according to them, this cannot be industrial applicable. They classify it as a perpetual motion device. And we know the politics around it. It's not because this is true. It's because of the industries which are getting affected by his invention. The electric cars industries which are getting affected. Elon Musk and Tesla, the combustion engine which is getting affected, the people who are producing those combustion engines, the petrol and the diesel engines, all the people who are creating all of those, the supply chain, the bolts, everything which is working in line of that has to be stopped because of this. The lithium industry, the petroleum industry, the oil industry, which has to stop its wars in all of these countries where they are fighting for oil, energy. Can you imagine the impact in which this discovery is going to have on wars? Because now you can create a robot which has got power everywhere it can go. It can be independent. It can walk. You can just put a navigator on the robot. The robot will have energy or electricity 24/7. The robot can go on shooting forever if it's in a war. So can you imagine the robots that are going to be the changes that are going to happen in warfare because of this technology? The transportation, the air transportation is going to be free. The There won't even be a need for creation of road infrastructure the way it's going to be affordable to travel from one country to another. It's going to be very cheaper for everybody to travel from one country to another, or even from one continent to the other because of this discovery. Because it means all planes will run for free. You won't even need a pilot who will help the plane to land because he says he's got a technology which helps the plane to land autonomously. The planes will land without a driver on them. So maybe airports, a television which has got its own power, a cell phone as well, which will have its own power independently, which will never be charged. A kettle which can boil water independently from a cable. The cable industry, the cabling industry. The impact on the cables which are being sold to us. I really wonder how is he still alive? I wonder how is he still alive when he's affecting so many people and when he's collapsing so many industries, while at the same time raising. This is the time of the dejected masses of the world. I think this is the time of the rise of the poor masses of the world. This is the rise of the African, the black man whom the planet has rejected. This is the time that the planet will be forced to accept back the black man and give him his seat, his deserving seat. Why is it that Wall Street is still alive today? Why is it that after this announcement, nothing has collapsed? What are they holding on? the lies that they are holding on, what makes them to survive even after the announcement of this massive technology. What will be US aid? What will be US aid when you have this kind of technology? Because you're going to be able to stay in a rural area where you can get land and be able to work, have access to Wi-Fi, have access to whatever technology that you have, and even have access to the world while you are sitting deep inside the forest where you want to sit, and have robots that can work for you day and night, because the robots will have endless electricity. They will be independent. You can have robots which will be planting day and night for you. The robots can plant food for you day and night, because it will have endless supply of electricity. What would be the use of all of these industries? If you can just buy a robot, power it with Maxwell as technology, give it a hoe to go and plow in your field, to go and plant, plow and plant. So we will have food sustainability, meaning we'll be able to sustain ourselves. Human beings are going to be able to sustain themselves without the help of the uh, food cartel, without the help of the food industry. That's why they want to colonize the seeds now. That's why they are in a process of colonizing the seeds, because they are realizing that the energy revolution is going to take them out of business. This energy revolution will really take them out of business. We will see even people will be able to create machines which are going to be able to go deep into the belly of the earth and take out water, bring out water just like that, because they've got endless creation of energy, power that they have. As long as there's power, endless access to energy, then people can create things. For you to stay in a village, you'll just need two robots powered by Maxwell's technology, and those robots can work for you 24 hours. The robots can take care of your livestock. The robots will be taught to do the work. What liberation is this energy revolution bringing? It's the freedom of the black child, the freedom, whether the system or the matrix want this to happen or not. The freedom of the black people is happening with or without them approving in their politics. This energy revolution is part of the evolution of the planet. The planet wants to change itself so that it can sustain life again, because human beings have destroyed it. Africa, Ican Fire says, we have silenced Europe. They are not saying anything. They are very quiet. They are very, very silent about it. Those who are coming out to talk are those who are disputing the technology. It has been proven that the technology is real and it's working. Maxwell is real, it's not a fake. He's a real human being, a black person coming from Zimbabwe who created this technology. Um, I I was really wondering in I was wondering how can USA continue to be a leader in producing scientists. I was wondering, I was asking myself, how can that happen? Because normally it should not happen that a violent country like that can be able to produce the most intelligent people in the planet. It should not happen like that. And it would not happen like that under normal circumstances. And I was asking myself why countries which has got so much good people and peaceful people are not able to produce the technology which is going to help the planet, only to find that actually there are people who are producing the technology, they are just being shut down, some are being killed in the process when they want to implement. Maxwell Chikumbutso technology has been rejected by the West. They have refused him to patent his work, meaning they don't want him to sell anything from his technology because they say his technology violate the laws of thermodynamics. In must be out. If out is more, then you have no explanation according to them. Where does the other energy comes from? The energy that gets to be used in the car and the energy that gets to be distributed if that car is used as a, a supply itself, because you can his cars can be used to power a house. A car can be used to power a house. You can take the car, go to work, plug in the car, and use a welding machine from your car. That is that is not revolution, it's evolution. If you can use your car to weld your house, that's evolution. It's not revolution. So I think in this era, black people and human beings will be evolving to another level, whether the politics that exist like it or not, or whether the controlling people of this planet like it or not. The changes in the planet are inevitable. The changes in the planet are going to happen and are happening and has already happened. The greatest inventor in the world is Maxwell from Zimbabwe, and the silence of the world is too loud. The greatest inventor of the planet. So far, the greatest inventor to ever grace the planet is Maxwell. There's nobody else who've ever invented anything that can be a solution in the planet like what Maxwell Chikumbutso is creating. These videos are also censored. When we talk positive about the African creation like this, the videos are censored. I Can Fire says the greatest inventor in the world is Maxwell Chikumbutso from Zimbabwe, and the silence of the world is too loud. I would say we're actually one of the blessed generation to have lived in this era where we have seen this type of um, technology, this type of this has created an endless possibility in fighting crime. This has created endless possibility because they will be able to they will be able to use drones which can even chase cars. If the car, if a car is stolen, if it's running on the ground, a drone can be running at the top of the on top of the car, chasing the car until it fetches the person. Drones will have cameras, like will have King Victor Shoma joining. Thank you very much for joining. You are very much late in the class. The jealous world, including captured Africans, are silenced. Yet the ancestors are watching. The world is very jealous against Southern Africa, against Zimbabwe, the Zimbabwean born inventor, somebody who is not European educated, who left school at the age of 14. They can't claim him in any way. That's why they are so silent. If he went to school a little bit, they will try and attribute this to his education or to his colonial education. So, because he did not receive any, he was denied because of the poverty that they have brought in our shores. Um, Now, God chose to use him. Our ancestors have chose to use him, irrespective of his education. He says, I understand radio waves. You know, radio waves is um, waves that comes from radiation. I mean, they call them radio waves because they come from radiation. It's where waves that are created when the electromagnetic field, when the sun and the moon is bringing its magnetic field, then the sun is bringing its electric field. These energies are the energies that helps the planet, that keeps the planet in its place. The electromagnetic field is the energy that keeps the planet in its place, holds the planet in its place, or helps it to rotate around the sun. That is the energy that Maxwell Chikumbutso has harvested to use in his electric vehicle. We are blessed to have lived to see the revolution, the energy revolution that is going to change the planet as we know it. The exploration, exploration, minerals exploration will be easily done through sending of drones. You'll just send one drone which can rotate the rest of the country, flying around the rest of the country, which can actually power itself to rotate. doing mineral explorations. Criminals will be easily found through these robots which will be created. I mean, the drones which will be created to fly over uh, over people. Deliveries will be made easier done by drones. The road infrastructures will have to go because now deliveries will be done through drones. As long as the Wi-Fi connection is there, if he can, like he's saying, he's created a Wi-Fi which will be exactly, which is as stable, which is more stable than a cell phone network. If he's able to create that, which will be, which will have a bigger range, which can have a kilometer range or thousands of kilometer range, a Wi-Fi which can have 1,000 kilometer range, then it's done. Everybody will be connected to Wi-Fi, and everybody will be able to travel wherever they want, whatever, for free almost. I am a Rasta. They know we black people are the greatest inventors. But this one, they cannot steal, and they are very upset. This they cannot steal. This is Zimbabwean. They cannot steal. They don't know what to do. I don't know what Donald Trump is saying with his friend Elon Musk now, because the fake scientist is watching all of this. They are watching all of this development on the internet. All these fake scientists in America are also watching this development and are very quiet about it. They're even afraid to comment about it. Elon Musk is not even saying about anything about it because he's busy with politics there in America to control people. While the real scientists are at work to liberate people, the fake scientists are at work to control people, to keep people in bondage. Ladies and gentlemen, we are very fortunate to have lived and seen this era happen. This will stop even wars, because the wars about oil is going to stop. The wars about lithium batteries is going to stop for solar, and for the electric cars is going to stop because of this discovery of Maxwell Chikumbutso. The exploitation of black people, or the exploitation of black people, is going to stop. The AI technology, black people will be able to be involved even in rural areas in innovation, because they have access to uh, power or energy. Without access to energy, it's very difficult to innovate. With access to energy, then the sky is the limit. The AI, chat GPT, has revealed that mathematics was invented in sub-Saharan Africa. Ancient bones, Libombo bones from Eswatini, and another bone from the uh, Yarosabas were revealed as evidence. There's quite a lot of evidence of a powerful human existence in Southern Africa. We're talking about in Delmas, we're talking about the deposit that we have there of iridium, which was exported from another planet, which is a material which is not made by anything that comes from planet Earth. It comes from it's an extraterrestrial substance. It comes from another planet. It means it was exported or it was imported to planet Earth by those who had the technology to even import things from another planet to this ride. So the technology, the black people have not even yet went anywhere closer to where we were before the invention or before time. So now I think nature is restoring itself. Black people will be back into their position. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining this live stream. Hope everybody you enjoy. Have a great time and a great evening. Thank you.